Hello everyone, it's time for the 4th week of Ninja Reworks. We didn't get that many changes this week, however, some of the game mechanics have been changed for all classes. I will try to provide some insight on these new changes as well as the ninja changes. As usual, all the previous rework videos for week 1, 2, and 3 will be posted in the description below. Alright, let's begin. Resistances has been changed so that Ignore Resist no longer takes away from your opponent's max resistance, but rather the PvP resist cap. The value of resistance applied in PvP has been changed to apply up to 80%, and the value for ignoring resistances has also been changed to apply up to 80%. In the current live server, your total ignore resist takes away from your opponent's max resist, not the PvP cap. So, even though the PvP resist cap is 60%, if they had 100% resist and you had 50% ignore resist, it would only reduce their maximum resist, not the PvP resist cap, leaving you with 50% chance of landing a CC. With this new resist change, in the same scenario, your ignore resist now reduces from the PvP max resist rather than your opponent's total resist, leaving you a 30% chance of getting resisted, much lower. This basically means that the new resist system allows you to have a higher chance of landing CCs against an opponent that stacks resistances, i.e. RBF adamantines. Guard break is now applied to all characters S block and Q block if their guard gauge reaches 0. If your guard gauge reaches 0, it no longer becomes a frontal guard, even if you move backwards. You no longer receive frontal guard during your guard break animation. Guard break lasts 5 seconds, meaning you will take full damage from any incoming attacks, as well as CCs. Here's a list of all the classes affected by this new guard break mechanic. All classes' primary passive tree has been completely changed. Here is a list of the new changes to the passive tree in your pre-awakening kit. They also removed the level 63 passive that every class got and replaced it with a special damage 2% increase as a separate passive to all classes. Alright, moving on to the ninja changes. There weren't many pre-awakening changes other than 100% crit rate in PvE to Absolute Black Moonlight. Outside of that, just minor tooltip and bug fixes for certain skills, so we'll dive straight into the succession changes. Ghost Slash is now able to link into Ghost Step with the WF input. Prime Heart Aiming's accuracy buff was moved slightly from the buff bar to the temporary buff bar. Alert Sense now has a proper tooltip picture, it looks really sick. It also now freezes your stamina during cast. Prime Red Rain has gotten a damage increase. Air Smash has been removed from Shuriken Flight. Prime Malice and Prime Evasive Shuriken Malice number of hits has been increased from 3 to 5. However, there's a PvP damage reduction increase from 50.1% to 60%. Overall, this is a slight damage increase. Alright, moving on to Awakening changes. Core Drastic Measure now has the proper Lingering Super Armor. Some motions that were activated slowly when using Seamless has been fixed. Sudden Decapitation has been changed. The attack speed buff now applies at the beginning of the skill and during the 3rd hit of the skill, mainly for seamless use. The lingering frontal guard after sudden decap has been removed. The core version of sudden decap was fixed to properly apply the CCs of float and bound. Can also cast vacuum slashes last hit after the 1st hit of sudden decapitation. And that's it for the awakening changes. It seems this week was just some minor tweaks and adjustments, however, the most notable things were the resist, passive, and block changes. In a meta where super armor blocks dominate the PvP scene, where non-grab classes struggle against the likes of Warrior, Valkyrie, Guardian, and Nova, this is a very refreshing change for them. It's one of the reasons why Succession Corsair is doing well in the PvP scene, because of the guard disable mechanic. Generally speaking, if you are a block-based class fighting in large scale, you rarely have to worry about non-grapple classes, because you just sit and block. You wait for them to engage, and just throw out safe CCs without risk of grabs. Even a high-end Sork with glass cannon human damage will evaporate in a group of players just casting protected CCs. They probably won't be able to burst down an endgame Valkyrie or Guardian by the time they die. This guard disabled mechanic will help alleviate a lot of effort for non-grapple classes. It will force the block classes to move around a lot more while having a disabled guard gauge, giving opportunities for non-grapple classes to CC them. Another great change is the resist stacking system. In my opinion, resist stacking is very cheesy meta. If you successfully land a CC on your target, and while attempting to go for your second CC, it gets resisted, your opponent gets up and mashes grab and kills you, it's quite frustrating. And I think everyone that has PvP'd for a long time will agree with this change. The passive change is definitely welcomed, however, I think it might need some more tweaking. In the current meta, high damage DR based builds with accuracy are much more efficient than the evasion builds. Now, while I do appreciate the change from 2.5% melee evasion to 10% all evasion, which is a great way to boost tankiness for ninjas and kunos towards magic and range classes, I think it may not be enough against players who now have 309 AP with 1 or 2 accuracy accessories. Evasion builds on ninja are simply just not enough. Unless you're running Centaur, Sissel with 800 evasion, it's just not an efficient build in today's era. And as a ninja, there's more value in killing your opponent fast than being tanky and dealing no damage. We're not strikers, unfortunately. With that in mind, losing the 2.5% accuracy passive for 10% all evasion hits ninja, especially Awakening, quite hard. Both specs already suffer quite a bit from lack of accuracy, so losing any accuracy is just another major hit. When I read about the passive changes, I thought they would give us an option on what passives we'd like to use, like core skills but for passives. It would give some diversity and more build options on the multitude of playstyles each individual has. As for the succession changes, I think with the alert stance freezing your stamina regen, we're going to suffer immensely on maintaining mobility and protection while trying to move around and getting slow debuff to oblivion. I still think the Ghost Slash for Bam is the best option on managing stamina a bit more, so hopefully there might be some tweaks or buffs in the next week of adjustments. While the Awakening changes were minimal, I do think Awakening will be in a pretty decent spot in terms of damage output. Now, with the new frontal guard skills on Sudden Decapitation and Vacuum Slash, they will not be as heavily reliant on Serpent Ascension, though I still think Serpent needs to be the one wave instead of Transition Serpent. Another good addition to Awakening is more ways to use Silent Charge, or ways to get into Transition Stance without having to press the right mouse button, or cast Drastic Measure. Maybe off other skills, Silent Charge being only a 2-second cooldown, but it's restricted to being used only in Transition Stance, makes it quite difficult to use all the time to profit from such a low cooldown, maybe after other skills like Vacuum Slash or Sudden Decapitation. I wanted to make a special shout out to my teammates Shuckle and Deli in the recent 3v3 Arena of Arsha Guild Tournament that happened over the weekend. You guys played amazing and I wanted to thank you guys for being a part of our team. Another shout out to all the teams that participated, the GMs and casters for hosting and running the tournament, as well as all the viewers that came and supported a great tournament. We came second place and won 30,000 pearls, losing to ChoNation in the grand finals. Congratulations to Cho for winning the 3v3 Arsha main gear tourney. Divios, Crown Chest, and Nuke, you guys played hella well. I will be seeing you guys in the next tournament. And as always, thank you for watching.